I need to write this down before I lose my mind completely. Before the weight of what I've done crushes me into something unrecognizable. My name is Sarah, and I destroyed my family because I thought I was smarter than everyone else. It started 3 years ago, when Emma was 11. We've been her parents for 8 years by then. 8 years of bedtime stories, scraped knees, dance recitals, and parent-teacher conferences. 8 years of being her mom, even though I didn't give birth to her. My husband Mark and I had chosen her, loved her, built our entire world around her. But there was always this tiny voice in the back of my head. This whisper that said I wasn't really her mother. That the biological connection mattered more than the daily act of showing up. That someday, her real parents would come back and she'd choose them over us. I never told Mark about that voice. I never told anyone. Instead, I did something worse. I cheated. Not with some random guy at a bar. That would have been cleaner, somehow. Easier to explain away as a moment of weakness. No, I cheated with Daniel, Emma's biological father. You read that right. The man who gave her up for adoption. The man we were told wanted nothing to do with her. The man who signed away his parental rights. Except he never really gave her up at all. Let me back up. Let me tell you how this nightmare actually began. 3 years ago, a couple moved in next door. Daniel and his wife, Rebecca. They were friendly, charming, brought us homemade cookies. We invited them to Emma's birthday party. They came to neighborhood barbecues. Rebecca and I had coffee together every Thursday morning. They became our friends. Daniel was attentive in a way that Mark wasn't anymore. Mark worked long hours at the firm, always exhausted, always stressed about money and mortgages and Emma's college fund. Daniel listened to me. Asked about my day. Remembered small details about things I'd mentioned weeks earlier. I told myself it was just friendship. Just nice to have someone who saw me as more than Emma's mom or Mark's wife. But I knew. Deep down, I knew I was playing with fire. The first time Daniel kissed me, we were alone in his garage. I'd gone over to borrow a ladder. It was quick, almost apologetic. He pulled back immediately, said he was sorry, that he didn't know what came over him. I should have run. Should have told Mark. Should have built a wall between our families. Instead, I kissed him back the next time. And the time after that. We started meeting when Rebecca was at work and Mark was at the office. Nothing physical beyond kissing at first. Just hours of talking, of feeling seen, of pretending I was someone other than the woman drowning in the mundane reality of parenthood and marriage. He told me I was beautiful. That I was wasted on someone who didn't appreciate me. That he couldn't stop thinking about me. I believed him. God, I wanted to believe him so badly. It took 6 months before we slept together. 6 months of emotional affair before it became physical. And even then, I told myself it wasn't that bad. That Mark and I hadn't been intimate in weeks anyway. That I deserved to feel wanted. The affair continued for 2 years. 2 years of sneaking around. 2 years of lying to Mark's face. 2 years of hugging Rebecca at neighborhood gatherings while sleeping with her husband. 2 years of Emma calling me mom while I betrayed everything a mother should be. I thought I was careful. I thought no one knew. But Emma knew. She'd known from the beginning. Yesterday, she sat down at the kitchen table while I was making dinner. Mark was still at work. It was just the two of us, like hundreds of other evenings. Mom, she said, her voice calm and flat. I need to tell you something. I smiled at her, probably said something generic like what's up, sweetie. Daniel and Rebecca aren't really just neighbors, she said. They're my biological parents. And I've known the whole time. The knife I was holding clattered into the sink. What my voice came out strangled. Emma looked at me with these ancient, tired eyes. Eyes that belonged on someone who'd lived 80 years, not 14. They found us 3 years ago, she continued, still in that horrible, emotionless tone. They never wanted to give me up. Rebecca couldn't have kids after me because of complications from the birth. They spent years looking for me. When they found us, they rented the house next door so they could be close to me. My hands were shaking. I gripped the edge of the counter to stay upright. They introduced themselves to me at the park one day, Emma said. Told me who they were. Asked if they could be part of my life, even if it was just from a distance. They promised they wouldn't try to take me away or confuse me. They just wanted to watch me grow up. Emma, why didn't you tell us? I whispered. She looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw something in her face that made me want to die. Because I wanted to see if you'd notice, she said. I wanted to see if you loved me enough to realize something was wrong. But you were too busy with Daniel to pay attention to me at all. The room tilted. You knew, I breathed. You knew about the affair, yeah, Mom. I've known for 2 years. She laughed, but it was bitter and wrong coming from a child. Did you really think I wouldn't notice the way you looked at him, the perfume you only wore on days when Dad was at work late, the way you'd check your phone constantly and smile at texts you'd never let anyone see? I couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. Daniel told me 6 months ago, she continued. He felt guilty, I guess. Wanted me to hear it from him before I found out some other way. He explained that he never meant to hurt anyone. That he just got close to you because he wanted to feel connected to me, and then it turned into something else. That was a lie. I knew it was a lie. But I couldn't say that. Couldn't defend myself. Rebecca doesn't know yet, Emma said. But she will. Because I'm going to tell her. Tomorrow. Emma, please. I'm also going to tell Dad, she said, cutting me off. Not because I want to hurt him. But because he deserves to know who you really are. She stood up from the table. Looked at me one more time. I spent my whole childhood worried that I wasn't really your daughter. That you'd send me back somehow, or love me less than you would a kid who came from your own body. But it turns out, you're not really a mom at all. Moms don't do what you did. Moms don't betray their families. Moms don't sleep with the biological father of their adopted daughter because they're bored with their marriage. I started crying then. Ugly, desperate tears. I loved you, I sobbed. I love you so much, Emma. I never meant. You loved yourself, she said quietly. That's all you've ever loved. She walked out of the kitchen. I heard her bedroom door close. That was yesterday. I'm writing this from a hotel room now. Mark threw me out this morning after Emma told him everything. I haven't stopped shaking since. But here's the worst part. The part that makes me want to disappear completely. Emma told me she's going to choose Daniel and Rebecca. That she wants to live with them. That she's been spending time at their house after school for the past year, and they've already talked to a lawyer about custody. She's choosing them over us. Over me. And I have no one to blame but myself. I thought I was being so careful. So clever. I thought the affair was something separate from my role as Emma's mother. I told myself I was still showing up for her, still packing her lunches and helping with homework and attending her soccer games. But I wasn't there at all. I was too busy chasing the validation of a man who was using me to get close to his daughter. And Emma saw everything. She watched me destroy our family. Watched me choose myself over her. Watched me become exactly the kind of person who doesn't deserve to be called mom. Mark won't answer my calls. He's talking to a divorce attorney. Rebecca confronted Daniel this morning and moved out. The whole neighborhood knows now. Someone posted about it in the community Facebook group. My phone won't stop buzzing with messages from people I thought were friends, all telling me what a horrible person I am. They're right. Emma hasn't spoken to me since yesterday. She blocked my number. I don't know how to come back from this. I don't think I can. All I keep thinking about is Emma at 3 years old, clutching her stuffed rabbit, looking up at me in the adoption agency with those huge brown eyes and saying mama in this tiny, hopeful voice. And I think about her at 14, looking at me with dead eyes, telling me I'm not a mom at all. She's right about that too. It's been 2 weeks since Emma told me the truth. 2 weeks since my life imploded. I'm still in the hotel room. Still checking my phone every 5 minutes hoping Mark will text me back. Still replaying every moment of the last 3 years, wondering how I became this person. The divorce papers arrived yesterday. Mark isn't wasting time. I finally got the courage to drive past our house this morning. Past tense, I guess. His house now. Emma's house. Not mine anymore. Daniel and Rebecca's house next door is empty. There's a for sale sign on the lawn. They disappeared 3 days after everything came out. Just packed up and left in the middle of the night like criminals. Except I'm the criminal here. They were just parents desperate to be close to their daughter. I was the one who turned it into something ugly. My mom called me yesterday. First time we've spoken since this all happened. I thought maybe she was reaching out to offer support, tell me she still loved me even though I'd made a terrible mistake. How could you do this to that child, were the first words out of her mouth. Not how are you holding up, not I'm here for you. Just immediate condemnation. Mom, She's 14 years old, Sarah. 14. And you made her carry the weight of your affair for 2 years. You made her watch you betray her father. You destroyed her sense of security in the one stable home she'd ever known. I tried to explain. Tried to tell her about how lonely I'd been, How disconnected Mark and I had become, how Daniel made me feel alive again. She hung up on me mid-sentence. My sister hasn't spoken to me at all. She just sent a single text, Emma deserved better than you. She's right. Everyone's right. I went to Emma's school yesterday. I know I wasn't supposed to. Mark has temporary custody and told me explicitly to stay away. But I needed to see her. Needed to apologize properly, to make her understand that I never meant to hurt her. I waited in the parking lot after the final bell. Watched the kids stream out, laughing and shoving each other, so unburdened by the weight of adult mistakes. Then I saw her. She looked different. Older somehow. She was walking with a group of girls I didn't recognize. She was smiling at something one of them said, and for a moment, she looked happy. Normal. Like a kid who hadn't just watched her entire family disintegrate. I got out of the car. Started walking toward her. She saw me immediately. The smile died on her face. Emma. I called out. Please, I just want to talk. She turned to her friends, said something I couldn't hear. They formed a protective circle around her, glaring at me like I was a stranger trying to abduct their friend. Maybe that's what I am now. A stranger. You need to leave, one of the girls said. She was tall, athletic looking, probably from Emma's soccer team. She doesn't want to talk to you. I'm her mother, I said, my voice breaking. No, Emma said, speaking for the first time. Her voice was cold. You're not. Those 3 words broke something in me that was already fractured beyond repair. A teacher came out then, Mr. Hendricks from Emma's English class. He'd always liked me at parent-teacher conferences. Told me Emma was brilliant, that she had a gift for writing. Mrs. Morrison, he said gently. You should go. This isn't appropriate. I just need 5 minutes, I begged. Emma, please. 5 minutes. My dad called the school, Emma said, still in that terrible flat voice. Told them you weren't allowed to contact me. If you don't leave, Mr. Hendricks is supposed to call the police. The police. To protect Emma from me. I left. I drove back to the hotel crying so hard I had to pull over twice because I couldn't see the road. When I got back to my room, there was an email from Mark's attorney. Mark is filing for full custody. They're using my affair as evidence that I'm an unfit parent. Daniel wrote an affidavit describing the affair in clinical, devastating detail. Every date we met. Every lie I told. Every time I chose him over my family. There was another document attached. A statement from Emma. I shouldn't have read it. My attorney told me not to. But I couldn't help myself. Emma wrote 3 pages about what it was like watching me have an affair. About hearing me on the phone with Daniel late at night when I thought she was asleep. About seeing me sneak out of the house on Saturday mornings, claiming I was going to yoga when really I was meeting him at the park 2 towns over. She wrote about the day she confronted Daniel, asked him why he was doing this to her family. He told her he loved me. That he couldn't help himself. That sometimes adults make complicated choices. She wrote I used to think my biological parents didn't want me. That there was something wrong with me that made them give me away. But now I understand they were just young and scared and wanted me to have a better life. The woman who adopted me, though, she had everything and she threw it away. She had a husband who loved her and a daughter who needed her, and she chose a man she barely knew because it made her feel special. I don't think there's a word for how much that hurts. I had to stop reading. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't function. But I forced myself to keep going. My mom used to tell me that family isn't about blood, it's about who shows up for you every day. She said that all the time when I was little, whenever I had questions about being adopted. She said she chose me, and that made our bond stronger than biology. But then she proved that was a lie. Because the moment my biological father showed up, she chose him over me. Over Dad. Over everything we built together. I don't want to see her anymore. I don't want weekend visits or supervised phone calls or therapy sessions where we work through our feelings. I want her to understand that actions have consequences, that you can't undo betrayal. That some mistakes are too big to forgive. She destroyed our family. She destroyed me. And now I have to figure out how to be okay without a mother, because the woman I thought was my mom never really existed at all. I threw up after reading that. Spent an hour on the bathroom floor, sobbing into a towel. My attorney called this afternoon. She was blunt in a way that made me like her less but respect her more. They had a strong case, she said. The affair alone would be damaging, but the fact that it was with Emma's biological father, and that she knew about it and carried that burden for years, it paints a picture of serious emotional neglect. I never neglected her, I protested weakly. You had a 2-year affair with her biological father while he was pretending to be your neighbor and friend, my attorney said flatly. You allowed your 14-year-old daughter to witness your betrayal and keep your secrets. That's textbook emotional abuse, Mrs. Morrison. Emotional abuse. The words hung in the air like an indictment. What are my options? I whispered. Honestly, accept whatever custody arrangement Mark proposes and hope Emma agrees to supervised visits eventually. If you fight this, it will go to trial, and everything will become public record. Every detail of the affair. Emma will have to testify. It will be traumatic for everyone, especially her. So I just give up, except that I'll never have my daughter back. You need to consider what's best for Emma, my attorney said gently. And right now, what's best for her is stability and space from you. I hung up and stared at the wall for 3 hours. Rebecca called me tonight. I almost didn't answer. What could she possibly have to say to me? I'm not calling to yell at you, she said when I picked up. Her voice was tired, defeated. I'm calling because Daniel told me something that I think you should know. I waited, my heart hammering. He never cared about you, Rebecca said. I'm not saying that to be cruel. I'm saying it because you deserve to understand what actually happened. Daniel became obsessed with finding Emma after we gave her up. It consumed him. Our marriage was never the same after the adoption. He blamed himself. Blamed me. Spent years tracking her down, hiring investigators, checking adoption registries. When he finally found her, found your family, he came up with a plan. Rent the house next door. Integrate ourselves into your lives. Get close to Emma without violating the adoption agreement. But then he realized the fastest way to Emma was through you. You were lonely. Vulnerable. He saw that immediately. So he pursued you. Made you feel special. Made you think it was real. It was never real, Sarah. He was using you to get access to his daughter. To prove to himself that he could still be part of her life, even if she didn't know who he was at first. I couldn't speak. My throat had closed completely. I didn't know about the affair until Emma told me, Rebecca continued. But I knew something was off. Daniel was different around you. Too attentive. Too interested. When Emma told me the truth, everything made sense. He confessed everything after you were exposed. Told me he never meant for it to go as far as it did. That it started as manipulation but became something more complicated. That he felt guilty but couldn't stop because being close to you meant being close to Emma. Why are you telling me this? I managed to choke out. Because I want you to understand that you weren't just stupid or selfish, Rebecca said. You were targeted. Manipulated. Daniel saw your weaknesses and exploited them. That doesn't excuse what you did. You still made the choice to cheat on your husband and lie to your daughter. But you should know that you weren't the only villain in this story. She paused. I could hear her breathing on the other end of a line. Emma wants to live with us, she said finally. Daniel and I are getting divorced, but we're going to co-parent. We've talked to Mark, and he's agreed to let us be part of Emma's life. She's known us for 3 years now. She's comfortable with us. And we can give her what she needs right now, which is parents who aren't connected to the betrayal she experienced. I'm not asking for your permission. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. Emma is choosing us. And you need to let her go. The line went dead. I'm sitting here now, in this ugly hotel room with its beige walls and scratchy sheets, trying to understand how I went from being someone's mother to being someone's cautionary tale in less than a month. Mark texted me an hour ago. First communication we've had since he threw me out. Emma is moving in with Daniel and Rebecca next month. They're relocating to Oregon. She wants a fresh start away from everything that happened here. I'm not going to fight it. She needs stability and she needs to heal, and she can't do that here. You can write her letters if you want. I won't stop you. But she's asked me not to give her anything from you for at least a year. Maybe after that, she'll be ready. Maybe not. I'm sorry it ended this way. I'm sorry for both of us. But mostly, I'm sorry for Emma. She deserved parents who put her first. We both failed her, but you failed her in a way that can't be fixed. Don't contact me again unless it's through the attorneys. Emma is leaving. Moving across the country. Starting over without me. And there's nothing I can do to stop it. Because she's right. I'm not her mother anymore. I gave up that title the first time I kissed Daniel in his garage and decided my happiness mattered more than her security. 6 months have passed since Emma moved to Oregon with Daniel and Rebecca. 6 months since I've seen her face or heard her voice. 6 months of living in this apartment that's too small and too quiet and smells like other people's cooking. The divorce was finalized 3 weeks ago, Mark kept the house, obviously. I kept nothing except my car and whatever money was in my personal account. My attorney said I was lucky to get that much. I signed away most of my parental rights. Most because I'm still legally Emma's adoptive mother, but I have no custody, no visitation rights, no say in any decisions about her life. Mark has sole custody. He can grant permission for Daniel and Rebecca to have her, which he did. I'm a parent on paper only now. I wrote Emma letters like Mark suggested. 53 letters in 6 months. I sent them all to Mark's address with instructions to hold them until Emma was ready. Last week, he sent them all back unopened. There was a note from Emma paper clipped to the box. Please stop. I'm trying to move on. The letters make it harder. 7 words that ended any hope I had left. I got fired from my job 4 months ago. The affair became public knowledge after the divorce proceedings. Someone from the neighborhood posted the full story in a local Facebook group. It went viral in our town. Within days, people at work knew. My boss called me into his office and said they were restructuring my position. We both knew what that meant. I haven't been able to find work since. Every interview goes the same way. They Google my name, find the story, and suddenly the position is filled. I'm living off my savings now. Watching the account balance drop every month, doing the math on how long I can survive before I'm completely broke. My mom died 2 months ago. Heart attack. Sudden and quick. My sister called to tell me about the funeral arrangements. Told me it would be better if I didn't come. Mom was already heartbroken about what you did, she said. The last thing she said to me about you was that she didn't recognize you anymore. That the daughter she raised would never have done something so cruel. I think the stress of it contributed to the heart attack, honestly. So no, Sarah. You're not welcome at her funeral. You've done enough damage to this family. I went anyway. Sat in the back of the church. No one acknowledged me. No one sat near me. Emma didn't come, thankfully. She's too far away, and Mark probably thought it would be too hard for her. During the service, the pastor talked about my mom's dedication to family. About how she'd raised 2 daughters to be strong, principled women. I wanted to stand up and scream that he was wrong. That she'd only raised 1 daughter successfully. That the other one became a person who destroys everything she touches. But I just sat there, silent and invisible, until everyone left. I tried to approach my sister at the cemetery. She was standing by the grave with her husband and their 2 kids. My nephews. I haven't seen them in over a year. Please, I said quietly, standing a few feet away. I know you're angry. But she was my mom too. I loved her too. My sister turned to me. Her face was blank. Empty. You don't get to grieve with us, she said. You gave up the right to be part of this family when you decided your selfish needs were more important than everyone else's well-being. Mom died ashamed of you. Do you understand that ashamed? Her last conversation with me about you was her crying, asking where she went wrong raising you. I'm sorry, I whispered. I'm so sorry. Your apologies mean nothing, she said. They're just words. They don't undo what you did. They don't bring back Anna's childhood or Mark's trust or Mom's peace of mind. They're empty. She walked away. Her husband gave me one disgusted look and followed her. I stood alone by my mother's grave for 2 hours after everyone left. I tried to talk to her, tried to explain, tried to say all the things I never got to say while she was alive. But there was nothing to say. Nothing that mattered anymore. Mark started dating someone 3 months ago. I know because I saw them together at the grocery store. She's younger than me, prettier, looks at him like he hung the moon. They didn't see me. I hid behind the cereal aisle and watched them laugh together, watched him touch her shoulder in that gentle way he used to touch mine, watched them be happy in a way we stopped being years before the affair even started. I wanted to hate her. Wanted to feel jealous or betrayed or angry. But I just felt hollow. He deserves to be happy. He deserves someone who won't destroy him. I got a Facebook message last week from one of Emma's friends' mothers. A woman I used to have playdates with when the girls were in elementary school. I hope you know what you've done to Emma, the message said. My daughter told me Emma has nightmares. That she's in therapy twice a week. That she flinches when people talk about their mothers. You didn't just have an affair, Sarah. You traumatized a child who'd already been through the trauma of being given up once. You made her believe she was unlovable. Unwanted. Not worth staying faithful for. My daughter asked me how a mother could do that to her own child. I didn't have an answer. Because I can't imagine it. I can't imagine looking at my daughter and choosing anything, anyone, over her well-being. I hope you read this and I hope it hurts. I hope you never have a moment of peace for the rest of your life. That's less than what Emma deserves, but it's something. I haven't deleted the message. I read it every morning when I wake up. A reminder of who I've become. Daniel sent me an email 2 weeks ago. First time I've heard from him since everything exploded. I need you to understand something, it said. What happened between us was my fault more than yours. I pursued you deliberately. I manipulated you. I saw that you were lonely and vulnerable and I used that to get close to Emma. But here's what I've realized in therapy: you still made every choice. I didn't force you to kiss me back. I didn't force you to lie to Mark. I didn't force you to continue the affair for 2 years. You did all of that yourself. I've apologized to Emma 1,000 times. I've explained that my obsession with being in her life made me do terrible things. I've taken responsibility for using you and for blowing up her family. But you haven't taken responsibility for anything. From what Emma tells me, you're still acting like a victim. Still making excuses. Still trying to explain away your choices instead of owning them. Emma is doing better now. She's adjusting to Oregon. Making new friends. Rebecca and I are working hard to give her stability. She's talking about you less. The nightmares are getting less frequent. She's healing. But she'll never be the same. You took something from her that can't be given back, her ability to trust unconditionally. Her belief that the people who claim to love her will actually put her first. I'm not writing this to make you feel worse. I'm writing because Emma deserves for someone to speak the truth on her behalf since she can't stand to communicate with you herself. You need to let her go completely. Stop writing letters. Stop checking Mark's social media for updates. Stop holding on to the fantasy that someday she'll forgive you and you'll have a relationship again. She's moved on. You need to do the same. Don't contact me again. Don't contact Emma. Don't contact Rebecca. Let us give her the family she deserves, the one you proved you couldn't be. I haven't responded. What would I even say? I started seeing a therapist last month. Not because I thought it would help, but because the loneliness was becoming unbearable. I needed someone, anyone, to talk to. She asked me in our first session why I had the affair. I gave her all my rehearsed answers. Mark and I had grown apart. Daniel made me feel special. I was depressed. I didn't think about the consequences. She listened patiently, then asked, but why did you keep choosing it every day for 2 years? You woke up and chose to continue lying. Chose to continue betraying your family. Why? I didn't have an answer. I think, she said carefully, that you need to consider the possibility that you were running from something. That the affair was less about Daniel or Mark or feeling special, and more about not wanting to be the person you'd become. A middle-aged suburban mother with a normal life. You wanted to feel like you were still the main character in your own story. She was right. I know she was right. I'd been so consumed with making sure Emma felt chosen, felt special, felt loved, that I forgot to feel those things myself. And instead of dealing with that in a healthy way, instead of talking to Mark or going to therapy or finding fulfillment in my work or hobbies, I decided to blow up my entire life. I made Emma pay the price for my midlife crisis. I drove past our old house yesterday. Mark's house. The new woman's car was in the driveway. There were different curtains in the living room windows. Emma's bedroom curtains were gone completely, replaced with blinds. She doesn't live there anymore. There's no reason to keep her room exactly as it was. The house looked happy, somehow. Well maintained. Alive in a way it hadn't been toward the end of my marriage. They're better off without me. All of them. I got a letter from Emma's school in Oregon last week, forwarded through Mark's attorney. Apparently I'm still listed as an emergency contact in their system, and they needed updated information. The letterhead had the school's address. I Google mapped it. Looked at the building on Street View. Imagined Emma walking through those doors every morning, sitting in classrooms I'll never see, making friends I'll never meet. Living a life I'm not part of. I thought about driving there. Just to see her from a distance. Just to make sure she's okay. But I didn't. Because that's exactly the kind of selfish thing that got me here in the first place. The kind of thing that would be about making me feel better, not about what's best for Emma. She asked me to let her go. So I have to let her go. I've started writing this all down not because I think it will help me heal, but because I think maybe someone else needs to read it. Some other lonely, unhappy person who's thinking about making the same choices I made. Someone who thinks an affair will fill whatever's empty inside them. Someone who thinks they can have it all, keep it all, if they're just careful enough. You can't. You'll lose everything. and you'll deserve to lose it. People keep asking me if I regret it. If I wish I could go back and make different choices. Of course I do. I regret it every second of every day. I regret it so much it feels like a physical weight on my chest, making it hard to breathe. But regret doesn't matter. Regret doesn't undo damage. Regret doesn't give Emma back her sense of security or Mark back his trust or my mother back her peace. Regret is just the tax you pay for devastating the people who loved you. I'll pay it for the rest of my life. But Emma shouldn't have to pay anything. She was just a kid who needed a mother, and I failed her in the worst possible way. I think about her every day. Wonder if she's happy. If she still plays soccer. If she still writes stories. If she ever thinks about me, or if she's managed to erase me completely from her memory. I hope she has. I hope when she thinks about her childhood, she remembers Mark and the good years before everything fell apart. I hope she's building a new life with Daniel and Rebecca that's so full and bright that I'm just a dark footnote she rarely has to revisit. I hope she's okay. I hope she knows that what I did had nothing to do with her worth and everything to do with my brokenness. I hope she never, ever makes the same mistakes I did. My therapist asked me last week what I wanted my life to look like in 5 years. I couldn't answer. I can't imagine 5 years from now. I can barely imagine tomorrow. All I know is that I destroyed the only thing that ever really mattered, my family. I traded it for a lie. For 2 years of feeling desired by a man who was using me. For the temporary thrill of being someone other than who I was. And now I'm nobody at all. Not a mother. Not a wife. Not a daughter or sister or friend. Just a cautionary tale. Just the woman everyone points to as an example of what not to become. I deserve that. I deserve all of this. But Emma didn't. That's the part I can't get past. That's the part that wakes me up at 3 in the morning, gasping and crying. Emma didn't deserve any of this. And I'm the one who did it to her. There's no redemption arc here. No moment where I figure it all out and become a better person and slowly rebuild relationships. Some things you break can't be fixed. Some people you hurt can't be unhurt. I broke my daughter. I broke my family. I broke myself. And I'm going to live with that until the day I die. If you're reading this and you're thinking about having an affair, about choosing temporary happiness over permanent commitments, about putting yourself first just this once, please understand what you're really choosing. You're not just choosing excitement or validation or escape. You're choosing to become the villain in your own child's story. You're choosing to be the reason someone needs therapy. You're choosing to turn love into trauma. Don't make my mistakes. Don't become me. Because there's no coming back from this. I'm sitting in my apartment right now, writing this final entry. It's Emma's 15th birthday. She's across the country, probably celebrating with Daniel and Rebecca and her new friends. Maybe Mark flew out to be there. Maybe his girlfriend went too, getting introduced to Emma as someone who might become a permanent part of her life. I'm not there. I wasn't invited. I don't even know if anyone mentioned me today, or if I've been erased completely from the narrative of her life. I didn't send a gift. Didn't send a card. Didn't try to reach out. Because the best gift I can give Emma is my absence. The only thing I can still do for her is nothing at all. I thought being a mother meant showing up, no matter what. But sometimes being a mother means knowing when to stay away. When your presence causes more harm than your absence ever could. So this is me, staying away. This is me, letting her go. This is me, living with the consequences of choosing myself over the child who needed me to choose her, every single time.